this is a video that I've wanted to make for a while, but I've kind of been on the fence about how to make it. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to jump into it and try it anyway. If I don't like it, I don't like it. But I've had this tent now a little over a year, so I do have quite a bit of experience with the tent. I've had it from Alaska, Denver, New York, Tennessee, had it everywhere in between. I've had this tent for quite a while now. Put 20,000 miles on the truck with this tent on here. Been through 2 different racks with this tent. So we're going to get into some of the pros and cons about this tent. I'll be completely honest with you. The mounting mechanism for this tent is a little over the top. So, flip you over here. As you can see here, there is a bar that comes down and under and also mounts under the tent. That sits on the crossbar, and there's bolts that come up through the C-channel on the crossbar, up through a slot under here, as you could probably see there. I really don't know, sorry, this is hard to do. But there's bolts that come up through there, and then a nut that comes down and bolts it down. Now, that works for a very, very secure mounting point, but it makes it really hard for some of us to find racks that work for this tent. Being that it mounts on the side there, this tent in the center flexes a lot. So going down the highway, even with padding that I've put under here, I got some pipe insulation that I cut and shoved underneath the 2 center cross supports. I still hear this tent bouncing. Excuse me. I can still hear just about everything. Another kind of drawback about this tent, if you get this, you're going to want a new mattress. This mattress is very, very firm. Most mattresses are firm in these tents. I've had another one. I had a different tent before this one, and, well, it was, needless to say, better than this. Another thing here, it's really hot here, and I just noticed that the glue that they used does not like the heat. It's starting to peel this fabric off, but no big deal. My shoes only go down there, so it's nothing big. But the fabric does go all the way around the tent, so be wary if you're in a hot area, that might happen. I don't know. Heat is new to me. I don't like this at all. Back to this though. Back here you can see that there is an awning. Well, yeah, I'll call it an awning. The sides, I don't know if you can see, there's a lot of sun here today. There's nothing protecting it. So if there's any crosswinds with rain or anything, it's coming in the tent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Unless you have this shut, the curtains here, it will come in the tent. Which is annoying, especially in Alaska, because it rains there constantly. And any bit of airflow in a humid environment like that is a lifesaver. Now, one of the weirder things, this isn't really a drawback, this is just kind of a, I guess, oddity, because I know the newer tents came with a different lighting system, but the one that I got specifically has these really obnoxiously short lights. They aren't wired in right now because I'm waiting to get solar. I'm going to get a solar panel, battery, and a fridge in the truck here soon. So they're so short. And mind you, I put my pillow in the back. I don't know if everyone does that. I actually think you're supposed to do it the other way in these tents, but I just find it a little more comfortable to face that way. These things are so short that even if I did have my head here, I wouldn't be able to use the light. That's as high as I can get it to go, and it won't stay there. So I want to hack into the wiring here, pull this off here, drill out the rivets, and send my own wiring down across to the back, and then somehow try to route it up and over to put a under cabinet light on the roof here. That way I can have some reusable light with the flick of a switch in the tent that comes from the roof, not the floor, like most places. But other than that, in this box, there's a USB on this side and a 12-volt outlet on the other. I actually think there's two USBs on this side. Up here, there's a bunch of storage. I usually keep a thing of dryer sheets up here. The tent always smells good with the dryer sheets up here. But some of these aren't sewn very well. That's what it is. They're not meant to be used and abused. They just hold stuff. So they're stitching on them isn't horrible. I'm able to keep quite a bit in here, honestly. I have the ladder in here. I have a very, very thick sleeping bag that one of my friends gave me before he left for the Navy, and I also have an old blanket that I had as a kid in here. It's another comforter on top of that. So I've slept in this thing down to, I think it was 15 degrees. That was the coldest I really saw on my trip home. But it is very, very warm in this tent. The side panels are very thick. They don't let much light in even during the daytime, which is nice. I can sleep in. The tent stays very warm, but a downside of these being so thick, humidity in this tent is a big issue. I know James Baroud tents, a lot of them have a vent on the roof to try to circulate out some of the humidity, and I would really like to try to get one of the vents off a James Baroud tent, but even after contacting them, they pretty much just told me either buy a tent or find your own, which I was kind of expecting but hoping that they'd be a little better about that. But it is what it is. They've got to make money too, even though I'd be willing to pay for one. They didn't want to. Zip this back up real quick. On to another thing. The mesh on these tents. I had another tent before this. I don't know if you guys keep up with my Instagram or not, but if you go through my Instagram down a ways, I had a previous tent. It was a fiberglass shelled tent. No name. I bought it off Facebook from a guy. Really nice guy, but through no fault of his, the tent broke open. Buy a rooftop tent, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
No, don't like that.
The fiberglass had aged, and it had cracked open on the drive back from New York to Tennessee when I first moved down there. And I ended up getting this one as a replacement. Through that, seeing a few other friends' tents, I've seen some tepuis, I've seen some roof nests. The materials on this tent are overbuilt to a point where I don't worry about this tent. The mesh on this tent is so thick. It's fine mesh, but it's almost a rubberized mesh screen, if that makes any sense. Even in Alaska with no-see-ums, I don't know if that's the actual name for them, but that's just what everyone calls them. They're a very, very small bug that bite a lot. I never had any issues with them coming in the tent, as well as mosquitoes. There's a ton up there. They never got in here either. The ladder it comes with is very nice. It's an all aluminum ladder. One of my friends, when we were in Seward, I didn't really post much then. I wasn't super into YouTube. Didn't really feel comfortable filming around other people at the time. We put some, I guess it'd be like sandpaper tape. It's grip tape, but it feels more like sandpaper. He put some on his ladder and had some left over and threw it my way, so I threw some sandpaper grip tape on the ladder just to give it a little more grip, because even with shoes, flip-flops, stuff like that, it was still a little slippery for me. They're diamond plate, and that was their grip, so they're a little better now. It also comes in a nice bag, so even if it's dirty where you are, the inside of your tent stays clean. I don't know if there's much else to talk about. As going over things again, the only things I wish that they would change about this, I wish that they would make some side curtains here so you could at least have these open when it rains. There's two sides, neither have them. The mounting is a little weird on this tent. I wish that they had a center like lag bolt to go through the tent from inside down through the crossbar, just to keep the center down instead of letting it flex and bounce, because it's only held in on the four corners. There's no center, I guess, brace or bolt, so it's a little flexy in the middle. I wish the light was on the roof. I really do. It's a little awkward to try to have to use those lights. They genuinely just don't work. I found myself getting a little like clip-on light up here, using that, but I needed something a little more permanent in here. It is the most expensive thing I've done to this truck to date, and I would do it over again in a heartbeat. I love this tent. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm going to leave a link in the description to Juniper Overland. Thank you guys so much for helping me over at Juniper Overland. Without you, I wouldn't have gotten this tent. So if you guys wanted to check them out, I'll leave a link in the description to them. Any other questions you guys have, feel free to ask. I would love to answer all your questions. There'll be a link to my Instagram there down too. I'll be on there a little more often than YouTube. Sorry guys, just how it is. I do not have the time.